All right, guys. Look, this, guys, the screen is dark right now. I want to start by saying, let's see, can you guys hear me? I think you guys can hear me. So, warning, this broadcast, it's not meant for little kids or people that can't handle talking about grown-up related topics, And there might be some naughty words said now and then. So if you can't handle it, I know YouTube's a very different place right now. It's a very different place. But if you can't handle it, before the black screen goes away and the show starts, you should probably tune out. Just a little warning from your buddy, Noah. All right. Why don't we start the show, shall we? Let me get us ready here and start the show. Oh, that was abrupt. What's up, guys? Am I live right now? Let me check. Let me check and see what's going on here. I think we're live. Welcome to the show, everyone. Who do you got in the live chat? Oh, golf franchise. Noah is riding on the Trump train. Well, we'll see what I have to say about that in a few minutes. Dre Santi, what's up, buddy? Nang, can't stay for long, but just wanted to wish you all well, regardless of who the winner of the election was. This show's not going to be totally about that. I'm just going to throw that out right now. But I do have a very special surprise for everyone for tuning in. So let me see if I can, let's see if I can make this happen here. There, that's what I need. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in the live chat. Who is in the live chat right now? Let me check one more time. Yeah, Adam, probably an Apple problem. You know how Apples are. No. It's not that. It's an OBS problem. I have not streamed in quite a long time. But ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in over 5 years, joining us here on NoahMania and on the NoahMania experience is none other than the extreme icon, Mike Nagel. What is up?
The rumors of my demise were greatly exaggerated.
Well, there you go. I don't know. Are you alive? Am I talking to a zombie right now? You look like a zombie.
I'm not AI. I am in a shitty no-tell motel at an undisclosed location in Cleveland.
Location. So, I just have to ask a question. It's going to be a personal question, all right? Will you bear with me, Mike? It'll be a personal question. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Is it in a formaldehyde jar?
I don't know where it is. Honestly, I don't know.
No, I if you want to tell the story, I'll let you tell the story. But Dre Santi said, "Welcome back, broski."
Yo.
So how do we sound everyone in the live chat? Let me know.
Well, basically, as everybody knows, I was diagnosed with diabetes, Wilford Brimley style, back in like 2011. And I was pushing close to 500 pounds at the time. I did a lot of work to get rid of the weight, which included running and walking, which made calluses form on the bottom of my feet, like real hard calluses on the balls of my feet. Um, I had an accident at my last apartment complex where they did not do maintenance correctly, and I ended up splitting open one of the calluses, which led to a real bad staph infection. And since December, I've been dealing with that, and they had to amputate about a quarter of my right foot, I think 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Wait. Back up a sec. I thought they just took your big toe. They took a quarter of your foot?
They didn't take my big
Oh
toe,
no,
they took my
they took your pinky toe. That's right.
and then under the pinky toe on the edge of the foot, you get these things. I don't know if they're corns or if they're what they're called. There's a word for it with the calcium deposit on the bone. I forgot what it's called, but I had that, and that was part of the staph infection. So they had to shave down a portion of the bone underneath my pinky. So they took about a quarter of my right foot.
I am absolutely mortified right now.
But the part that makes it even crazier is that I've been homeless since July.
You're not
So they're telling
homeless, Mike. You're not homeless. You have a home.
I know I have a home, but technically at the time of this recording, I am homeless. I am staying at a no-tell motel, which I've been
No.
doing.
You're staying at a no-tell motel, but you have a home.
Well, now for sure I have a home, but
Mike's moving to
you know, I've
Sacramento, by the way.
I've been bouncing around from these motels one to another, and it has not been an easy
All
recovery.
right,
And I have to.
let me cut you off there for a second. Let's talk to the live chat. Let's see what's going on in live
The
chat.
doctor already cut me off. Don't be the second one to do it to me in a
Matt
span of a month.
Matt Helms, a good buddy of Eric's. Hey, Matt, give that no good lying piece of crap E-Bar a call and get him on the Discord call immediately. That's my mission for you, Mr. Helms. I know you're a person. Matt Helms is a close personal friend of Eric's, but he doesn't live in the Ozarks with Eric. He lives in Vegas. So send him your regrets, Mike, because Matt Helms is from Vegas. Adam, probably an Apple. You know how apples are. Okay, we got that already. Cigar Hound Dog says, we sound great. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Adam said, DDP Yoga paid off, Mike.
Yeah, DDP yoga was good, but it was a lot more detailed than that because the DDP yoga, I have a really bad back from a couple different car accidents. So even though DDP is an easier workout, my L4 and L5 are still jacked up pretty bad. So it's hard to do a lot of the movements. So I've been doing more like cardio based stuff, like running, walking, swimming, a lot of that. But I haven't been able to be in water since December, and I have to wear a cast cover when I shower, and I've had to do it since December. It makes it real tough. And I actually had my first old man incident last week where I slipped getting out of the shower, and I cracked a couple ribs really good. So
Oh,
yeah, I wish it was just like a shower where I didn't have to climb over, but it's one with those tubs built in here at the motel. And
well,
yeah, dude, I just
you know your new house doesn't have a walk-in shower. You're gonna have to step over a tub to get in the shower.
yeah, but I imagine the floor isn't where I'm gonna pull a Homer Simpson and do the back bump and then hit my head on a toilet.
I
I
don't know.
have,
We'll see. We'll see
I
about
have,
that. By the way, Adam went
dude.
on to say that you're still better off than Deion Sanders. You're better off than
Yeah, I
Coach
know.
Prime.
He had a few toes amputated.
Anthony Tornado says, "Hey, it's Mike, and it's 2024. How do I know this?" He's got a little
I'm really just a
Gil reference
hologram. I'm,
there.
I'm up in heaven with Tupac.
You're up in heaven with Tupac. Hey,
We
no, Tupac's
pre-recorded this
alive.
last year.
Tupac is alive. Um, so
Biggie Smalls, Biggie
I,
Smalls, Biggie Smalls.
I'm going to ask you a question because I have to, because you know me, you know how I am. Um, I, I used to be not like this, but I have to ask. Can we see the foot?
No, I can't even look at the foot. It's bandaged up. I have to go for a follow-up appointment next week.
By the way,
I can't.
the
I
pinky
can't
toe.
even unwrap it. I can't even unwrap it to take a shower. I have to just put it in the cast cover. It's wrapped like tight with an ace bandage.
please wash it before you come out here?
Yeah, I haven't been allowed to wash this foot since December, so I
Oh
mean,
man. Um, by the way, the pinky toe is the most worthless toe on the planet. It doesn't do anything for your balance, and on top of that, when you jab it into something, it hurts like a fucking motherfucker.
listen, I
So,
just feel really bad for my friend who let me stay with her in Virginia because I had to order a new walking boot and like even changing the bandages every day, like the staph infection just stinks and it
oh,
stunk through a boot that was enclosed. So, I mean, I feel for everybody. My foot doesn't smell right now though. Like they
I'm
cleaned it up when they did the surgery.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to pull back my offer. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Dude,
You're,
staph infections are no joke. Like
I
I
know
can
they can
seriously
kill
see
you.
like when Moxley did that WWE documentary talking about how he almost lost his arm, I totally understand it because I know this has been ongoing with me since December, and I've had two surgeries, my first two real surgeries as an adult, and it has not been fun. You don't
Whoa,
realize.
did we just lose the stream? Did we?
I wouldn't know.
Hang on. What is going on? I think we're okay though. I think we're fine. No, I'm happy. I'm glad that you're. Oh yeah, we did. Hang on. Okay, we're back. That's good. Sorry for the interruption. Anyway, where the hell is Eric? We got to get him on. But anyway, no, I'm happy that you're doing better. You lost a ton of weight. We're all very proud of you, and you're going to turn over a new leaf in
And I quit
2025.
smoking cigarettes, which I was kind of forced to do, which sucks. But I do notice I smell a hell of a lot better now that none of my shit is like drenched in cigarette
Well,
smoke
that's up for.
anymore.
I'm just joking.
I smell like Versace cologne now, bro.
Oh, shut the. Now you're not supposed to do that on YouTube anymore. You're gonna get me banned.
It's not
No, 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 no,
drugs.
no. You can't even say it. There's so much stuff. Listen, I'm learning a lesson. There's so much crap we can't even say on YouTube anymore. It's ridiculous.
Oh fuck that.
Adam said in the live chat, I have an idea. Noah, drive Mike to Tijuana and let him cross the border so he can get free health care and an endless government debit card. Yeah, but then the cartel, you got to pay
I
them
have
off.
I actually have free healthcare right now as it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know
and
how long that's going to last the way things are going.
well, I got to be honest with you, it was a lot easier to get with Trump than it was with Biden. Biden made me.
Uh, okay, now you did the segue. Oh, hang on, let's see. Gents, happy Saturday night. Noah, hope all is going well. And Mike, continued luck on the health front. Good, sir. That was Talkman T. I believe that's Mr. Tony H, as a matter of fact.
And listen, before we go any further, I got to give a shout out to Alistair because he hooked me up with a $25 lift card, and I'm gonna get him back as soon as I do have a check being deposited in my account, supposedly sometime this week. I'm getting everybody back who helped me. It wasn't just Noah. I had a few friends like my friend Jason, who I've been trying to get back, and
Hey,
unfortunately, that first check they would not deposit for me because they misspelled my name and they wouldn't put it in the probate account. So I'm waiting on a reissue.
did they spell your last name Nigel?
LE LE instead of EL, and the bank wouldn't do anything about it. So
Well,
I'm waiting on a new one.
let me tell you what pisses me off, Mike. You just downplayed the what I'm doing for you by giving everyone else credit that I deserve. I'm the one that should get the credit around here.
Well,
Nobody else.
I was figuring once I get up there after this long ass drive I'm gonna have to do in a 30-foot truck, that when we sat down to do our official relaunch, when I'm there with you, that we would take a few minutes and I would really go over everything and give shout outs like it's a Patreon or
It's gonna
something.
be like the thank you notes.
Yeah, but it's going to be heartfelt for me, which is
But
rare
but
because
here's the thing.
everybody knows.
We're not gonna do this for donations. We're not going to e-beg, and worse yet, we're not going to get pissed off and quit YouTube after cutting a promo if nobody donates to us.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a handout.
That
I'm
would be
not looking
good.
for a handout. My friends have been very gracious in giving me the amount of charity they have, and they all know they're getting paid back in spades by me. It's just I'm going through a little bit of a rough patch right now. I haven't been cleared to work, and the government denied my SSI and my SSDI. So I've had zero money coming in. I've been staying at Red Roof Inns and worse since I had to sell my car back in July. So, I mean, there's only so much I can do. I'm not staying at a homeless shelter.
You're doing
It's
good though.
not happening.
You got a home. You just got to get to it. You'll be everything's gonna be all right. Just remember that. Okay.
See, I'd be more worried about being copywritten for that.
No, it's look. Let's talk about current events. My kid's not feeling hot, so I'll be lurking tonight. Have a great show. Thanks, Tony. Look, I really on this program, my opinion is the only opinion that matters. I hate to break it to you guys.
Up.
My opinion is my opinion is the only opinion that matters. But I'm willing to listen to everyone else's opinion, and if you say something profound that's going to change my mind, I'm open to it. So let's talk about and this isn't a political show, by the way, but we're going to talk about current events. So sorry, you're going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to deal with my opinions on things that you might not agree with. And you know what? If you want to come in here and say that, oh, I'm a libtard, I think that's the clever thing that people like to say, and say that, oh, I'm going to be whining for the next 4 years, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Just go away if you don't like it. I don't need you. I'm not in this for views. I'm in this because it amuses me and I enjoy it.
Okay. And believe me, Noah and I have had many a conversation about this topic this week.
You're
so
pissing me off too, Mike. But let me just start by saying,
but the thing is, I don't want to stop being your friend because we have a difference of opinion. That's what America was founded on, was people being able to have differences of opinion.
I know where your true feelings really are. You're just right now, Mike, you're a little confused at the moment. So will you let me unconfuse
you? I'm not confused.
Would you let me unconfuse you right now? Let me unconfuse you. Can I unconfuse you?
Sure.
Okay, let me unconfuse you.
Are you going to be paying off that $20 million debt that I heard that somebody owes from all the donations and everything?
Okay, listen. I'm going to start by saying
maybe I should be a Democrat because I'm just as bad with money. I mean, shit.
Well, we could talk about that too. I'm going to look the camera square in the eye right now and say, ladies and gentlemen, I voted for Kamala Harris, and I would vote for her again. Not that it mattered, because either way, just like the Trump supporters in California, it's already predetermined that it's going to go Kamala. So everyone around me that voted for Trump was basically throwing their vote away. I found that very amusing. Especially one of my neighbors that had a giant neon Trump sign outside of his home. Okay, so let me break it down. First of all, I do blame the Democrats for this. This is 100% the fault of the Democratic Party. 2 years ago, and I say that with love and admiration for Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and even Joe Biden in his younger years as a politician, and Kamala Harris. The Democrats made a mistake. Here's the deal. 2 years ago, everyone predicted a red wave during the midterms. It never happened. The Democrats were flying high. Everything was going so good. So good. And let's back up even further. Let's go back 4 years ago when President Biden was elected. He promised to be a transitionary president. And then when the midterms happened and the red wave that was promised never came, he said, well, you know something? I think I'm going to stick around a little bit longer. I think I'm going to run a second term. And even though nobody's going to come out and say it, that sent shockwaves through the Democratic Party. They were not prepared for that. And the problem is, Joe Biden, who means well, he's got the best of intentions. He's just lost it. He needs to retire. He deserves to retire after a lifetime of public service. That's what he needs to do, is retire. Let me finish, Mike. I'll let you have your rebuttal. He needs to retire. And he did horribly in the debate against Trump. And then 3 months before the general election, with everyone pressuring him, drops out of the race. And then they insert Kamala Harris because they had no other choice. Kamala Harris, somebody who 5 years ago, didn't even make it to Iowa before she dropped out. And look, she has a plethora of experience, whether or not you agree with her politically. Could she do the job? Yes. However, there's something about her that just ticks people off. Left versus right aside, there's just something about her that ticks people off. I like her. I can't say that I agree with her completely. I don't agree with the president completely, and I'm a Democrat. But there's something about Kamala that ticks people off, and that's why she didn't make it far in the primary. And for her to spin up a campaign and run for president with 3 months before the election, who can do that successfully? Who on God's green earth could do that successfully? It's hard to do that with 5 years of notice, which Trump never stopped running for president. When he lost, he immediately began his campaign. So Trump had almost a complete 4-year head start on Kamala Harris. Of course she's going to lose. And add to the fact that people are pissed off about it. I get it. I'm not happy about it though, and I blame the Democrats for not holding the president to his word. I ain't happy about it. Now, that's no excuse for Donald Trump. Let's go to the chat. I can't pronounce that, sorry. There's a lot of Trump voters already regretting having voted for him. They don't know what tariffs were and how they'd affect them. Can I recast my vote? It's been a top search the last few days. That's interesting. Look, here's the deal. Trump won the election fair and square. I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to bellyache. I'm not going to be like, yeah, it was a fraud. It was a sham. The election was rigged. And nobody on the left is going to storm the Capitol. Those are two very important facts I want to point out. Is there's going to be a peaceful transition of power in spite of all the differences. And look, I'm gonna come out and say that I can find common ground with the right on fiscal matters. There's common ground, and I respected the hell out of John McCain. I respected Ronald Reagan, even though I fundamentally disagree on the social issues. Okay, here's my problem with Trump. He is completely owned, along with the rest of the Republican Party, are completely owned by the NRA and the religious right. And having J.D. Vance as vice president is incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. Because he is extremely religious. He uses his personal religious beliefs dictate his political stance. And there's nothing more dangerous in this country than that. I also think there should be a little more gun control, but look, I'll focus on religion for now, because I think that that's a fundamental danger. You got the president who's entering office as, for better or for worse, the most powerful president in modern history. He's got the Senate, he's about to have the House, and he's got the Supreme Court backing him. It wouldn't be beyond the realm of imagination that SOB pushes for a constitutional amendment to remove the 2-term limit so he could run a third time. He'd have a shot at that at this point, which scares the freaking daylights out of me. The Republican Party are hypocrites. The election is a sham unless they're the ones that win. They still think that the January 6th insurrection was a hoax. It's all a bunch of bullshit. They preach less government, more freedoms and liberties. Oh, wait, it's involving gay marriage? Oh, well, we can't have that. More government. They preach less government, more freedoms and liberties. Oh, wait, women's right to choose? We better have more government there. Religion says you shouldn't do this. But they'll cover it up. They'll try to pull the wool over your eyes and say, well, we're just returning the power to the states. But these states that are outlawing abortion or making it very difficult for a woman to get an abortion are even criminalizing if a woman chooses to leave their home state and go to a more enlightened part of the country to end an unwanted or unplanned pregnancy or an unsafe pregnancy. In some cases, they can't even go back to their home state because they risk being prosecuted, being charged with manslaughter or murder. That's a real thing. Go look it up. And if you guys don't think Project 2025 is J.D. Vance's doing, now I think Trump is too stupid to orchestrate something like that, by the way. But J.D. Vance is a manipulative, religious, right-wing gun nut son of a bitch. And I have nothing against religion. I respect everyone's religious beliefs, but you can't have it involved in government. Period. Yes, I'm pissed off. And that's my personal beliefs. You don't like it? Move on with your day. I don't care. All right, Mike, would you like your rebuttal?
First of all, God bless J.D. Vance from the great state of Ohio.
Fuck up. No. Come on.
I was a lifelong Democrat.
Mike, you can't look at me with a straight face and tell me that J.D. Vance is not going to use the Christian Bible as the platform for his politics.
I think he's using his upbringing for the platform of what he's trying to pass through.
Which is based on Christian values. Period.
No, his mom was like a prostitute drug addict.
That's the story he's telling.
Listen,
Look,
I was a lifelong Democrat.
Okay.
I was a lifelong Democrat. I voted for Biden. I made a mistake because the last 4 years have sucked ass. Okay? Look at the position a lot of us are in. We're living hand to mouth. And when Trump was president, as much as we don't like him as a person, as president, he made it a lot easier for a lot of us to live. I'm hoping that he can get the economy back on track and that Bobby Kennedy can do all this shit with the FDA that he's trying to do. But no, I don't agree with everything.
Roll back FDA approval on the abortion pill?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
2025.
I'm not talking about that. If you'd let me finish, I'd say I don't agree with everything that Trump and J.D. Vance stand for. I don't agree with the abortion stuff. I don't agree with any of that stuff. Men shouldn't be telling women what they can and cannot do with their bodies, okay? I don't agree with that. I'm talking about the fiscal responsibility of this country and how shitty it's been. Look at what Trump did with our or not Trump, but look what Biden did with our military. The worst pullout of a war in the history of the United States since Vietnam. We gave China access to like all of our weapons, our all our military shit that we left over there because we left in a huff, like we were trying to flee an ex-girlfriend's house in the middle of the night. We left all them translators, animals, just to be killed by the Taliban. Like Biden was a pussy. There's no other way to say it. When it came to military shit, Biden was a pussy. And then, the Democrats did lie because they said not one serviceman or woman was killed in such and such amount of time, which was proven to be a lie. And then nobody said anything about that. And then I think a serviceman's family said Trump actually called them and spent time with them after their son was killed, and Kamala Harris did a half-ass sorry, and that was it. I mean, for all the bad shit that people say about Trump, he does do good stuff too, and it's not just for publicity. Is he perfect? No. Is he even great? I would say no. But as far as him versus like Biden or Kamala, I'd say he's the better choice. With the exception of all the stuff dealing with, the abortion and, the right wing nut Christianity stuff. I think there is certain stuff that Trump is able to do better. If you've read the stuff that's been going on since he won the election, all these countries want to stop this nonsense. Like, everybody wants to get on our good side right now because they know Trump is fucking crazy and will bomb the shit out of them. I think we need to see what happens once the inauguration happens and give him like a certain period of time to adjust and see if he follows through with what he promised on the campaign. Because I don't know about you, but there's no way to live and survive right now. Under Biden's administration, China came into our country and bought up the most land out of anybody in the last 4 years. They have so much of our farmland right now. It's insane. And I think Trump may do something about that, which I like because, I mean, isn't that just crazy that a foreign nation owns more of our land than we do? That just seems a little ridiculous, and I think we should just give him a chance. I honestly think we should give him a chance because Kamala lied about a lot of shit on the campaign trail too, and the fact that she was adopting a lot of Trump's policies of what he said he was going to do, and she said, "Oh no, we'll never do that. That'll never happen," and then she turns around on the campaign trail and flip flops and says, "That's exactly what we're going to do."
So,
like, that irked the shit out of me.
So here's something else that I can't get past. And this isn't just it is a Republican thing, but it's also a Donald Trump thing. I can't get past the level of hypocrisy to the nth degree. Now, let's just put aside for a moment, let's pretend like Donald Trump is not technically a convicted felon. Let's put that aside. Let's pretend like it's all accusations at this point. If Biden or Obama had even a fraction of what Trump was accused of, let alone convicted of, they would have politically and criminally eviscerated the Democrats over that. And if there was even a whisper or just even the slightest implication that Obama was thinking about pardoning himself from federal charges and firing the special counsel that's investigating him, they would haul him into an impeachment proceeding faster than you can blink an eye.
Well, I mean, and then it goes to show also with Kamala Harris, though, her husband was representing members of Hamas, which is a known terrorist organization, and they were all buddy-buddy. Tim Walz has been shown to be hosting members of Hamas and be buddy-buddy with them. And the media, or the mainstream media, really hasn't been talking about it. Like it's kind of a double standard because you don't see Trump palling around with Kim Jong Un
Yes, you did. You did see Trump
when he
palling
was
around with Kim
president.
Jong Un when he was president. Doesn't matter when
When
he
he was
did it.
president, he told him he had a bigger button to push. That's all that happened.
Please,
I
he
mean,
shook hands. Plus, Trump on multiple occasions has told people privately that he admires how Kim Jong Un's people look up to him as a god. Trump is about his ego. He's not in this for
but
the
did he
American people.
represent known terrorists though?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But what I do know is here's the thing.
And then the other thing is, with all this anti-Semitic shit that's been going on all over the world, I've noticed that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been relatively quiet about it. They haven't said anything about the shit that happened in Amsterdam the other night with people lynch mobbing Jews. You know, they haven't said anything about any of this stuff except, oh, well, they need to stop what's going on in Gaza. Maybe they need to return the fucking people they kidnapped before anything can happen. But the second Trump was elected, you saw Hamas go out to their media outlets saying, "Oh, well, we're ready to find peace." And then Qatar expelled all the Hamas members living there the second Trump was elected. So I don't know. Maybe it isn't the worst thing because Kamala Harris showed she really didn't give a shit about Jews, and that doesn't work for me, brother.
Well, look, Trump has done some of the most disgusting, disreputable things that a president should never do. And all of his supporters know that he did it, and all of his supporters will be the first ones to eviscerate any Democrat that did a quarter, a fraction of the things Trump has done and said, inciting an insurrection, just the implications about pardoning himself, trying to weasel his way out of being held accountable for his actions.
Aside from all that shit, remember what I told you? I voted for Biden.
What
So when that
disgusts
stuff
me
went on, yeah,
What
but
disgusts me is
what else
Trump's,
disgusts me?
and this is what disgusts me about Trump's supporters, is they know everything that he's done and everything that he said and all the bullshit and the hypocrisy and the lies. They know and they don't care. Just like they're eating the dogs and cats in Springfield. The right wingers all know it's a bunch of bullshit. They don't care. They voted for him
They're
anyway. And
not
that says a
eating dogs
lot.
and
That
cats,
says a
but
lot about
they
people
are
that
eating
lean
dogs and
right.
cats. But the Haitian immigrants are causing trouble out here.
They're not
Like a
eating
lot of
cats
them.
and dogs, period. That's
No, they're doing hit and run
unsubstantiated.
accidents, causing property damage, and robbing people and robbing businesses. I don't know about the cats and dogs, but I know about everything else because I see it on the news
Well,
here every night.
look, I'm not going to bellyache about the left losing for the next 4 years, but I am going to talk about the social issues. And those are the things I can't get past. And I can't get past a president that is allowed and is applauded for doing crap and saying crap that if his political opponents were to even do anywhere near that, he'd be done. It ain't right. It's a hypocrisy and it's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, though, this falls squarely on the Democratic Party. It
Well, no,
isn't
the
all
Democrats are to
Trump's
blame.
fault.
100%. 100% the Democrats are to blame for the outcome of this election.
I'm
But
telling you. And the other thing
but
is, people are saying, "Oh, you voted for Trump, you hate women," and it's not like
his
that at
his
all.
supporters that voted for him this year are complicit in what happens over the next 4 years. And let me tell you, I don't have a good feeling about where this country is going to go over the next 4 years. And everyone that voted for him is going to reap what they sow. Just wait and see. Wait and see. I think we can agree. Wait and see. Let's wait and see.
I think one of two things are going to happen. I think Joe Biden, since he still has the power, is going to get us into war because that's the only way you can.
No war is going to happen. He's a lame
Will
duck
you let
president.
me
He's
finish?
leaving
I let you do
office.
your 25-minute diatribe of bullshit. Let me talk.
Okay.
I think because the only way, and FDR established this way back during World War II, the only way that he can keep power without doing a peaceful transition is if we are in wartime. If he establishes a war and gets us into war, he can stay president and then transfer power to Kamala. I see that being not solution, but I see that being one of the ways this plays out. The other way is that Trump comes in and stops all this printing of money, sending it overseas to Ukraine, and that Russia and Ukraine are forced to settle and work out an agreement, and all this shit stops. And we have peace for a little bit of time, and people should just calm down and let this peace happen. And then we see what Trump does with our economy. And if he does a bad job, then we kick him out. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the only way it can go.
How about Linda McMahon? She's getting brought back into the fold, even though she was never really out in the first place. She was during the last Trump administration, she was the head of the Small Business
Oh, that's the
Administration.
other thing. That's the other thing. Vince is going to get a full pardon from everything.
No. Well, if it's federal charges, maybe we'll see.
They're looking at federal charges. From what I was hearing, they were looking at prosecuting him because they were so mad about that case in '93 or '94.
They're trying to get him. Yeah.
They're trying to get him, but I don't think Trump will let him. I think he'll pardon him.
We'll see about that. But Linda McMahon, who is just, she loves that shit. She loves that right wing billionaires helping out billionaires bullshit. And she was the head of the Small Business Administration. She stepped down so she could move into a role running his campaign for re-election in 2020, which failed. And now she's back into the fold. I think she's currently just an advisor. Oh, she's co-chair of the president-elect's transition team. So we'll see what happens after the transition, where she's going to land. We know she's not going to be chief of staff. They've appointed a chief of staff already.
Yeah, and it's the first woman chief of staff in U.S. history, by the way.
And it's interesting that her main concern was how much power and control she would have.
Listen,
that's their MO. They're all about power and control and billionaires protecting billionaires. And
I'm going to tell you the other thing that won Trump this election, whether you agree or disagree with it, these are just the facts. This time, Trump had a team around him of people he's bringing in and putting into key places in his administration that a lot of people like, including Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard and I cannot pronounce the Indian dude's name who was running for president, but he's in the fold too. And then you got Dr. Ben Carson, and they got these people that a lot of people seem to really like. And for whatever reason, if they hated Trump but liked these people, Trump got their vote. He's got a team in place ready to roll.
Well, we'll see. Well,
and the thing I'm most interested in is Trump promised Bobby Kennedy Jr. that if he got reelected, he was going to unclassify the JFK files.
He talked about that. We'll see, but and that's another thing that makes me want to puke was seeing a Kennedy on the ballot, because even though he dropped out of the race, he was on the ballot for California, and although he ran as an independent, it's just. His family just must be ashamed of him. He's like the black sheep of the Kennedy family.
I don't think they're ashamed of him.
His old man's rolling over in his grave, that's for sure.
Not when they unseal the documents about why he was murdered too.
I'm sure it's a whole lot of nothing. I think that if they unsealed the Kennedy files and unsealed the Area 51, everyone would be incredibly disappointed. The myth is way more interesting than reality.
Well, Area 51, all they do is test new fighter jets there. I lived in Nevada. I found out about that when I lived there.
Adam said in live chat, you think Elon and Vince McMahon could get along in the Trump administration? The only thing that I think would be conflicting is Elon and Vince they're used to being sitting at the head of the table. They're used to being the head of the table. And when you have a group of guys, Trump, Vince, Elon, if you were to put them all in the same room at the same time, they would all be fighting with each other over control. That's the reality of some of those mega billionaires. They
Well,
got to where they are
and
by being micromanagers and by being control freaks. And hell, I
and
say
here's another
put them all in
thing.
a room together and let them go at it. Let the whole freaking place fall apart.
Here's the other thing, though. During Trump's first administration, he wasn't about the environment or anything, but with Elon on his team, Elon is a champion for the environment, and I think we're gonna make some strides in environmental stuff. So it may turn out even better than people are expecting.
And it's going to really expose Elon as a hypocrite when they start doing those pipelines here in the United States. That Elon is all about the electric cars, but he's not going to question Donald Trump on fossil fuels because they're all hypocrites. They're all a bunch of hypocrites.
Well, Kamala's biggest mistake was not doing Joe Rogan's podcast.
I don't think the problem is, and here's the deal. And this was another thing that was funny to me, and then I want to move on, is Joe Rogan pretends to be he has this facade about him where he acts like he listens to the other side and he's always wanting to learn and his mind can be molded and changed. He had his mind made up 4 years ago on who should win in 2024. And this is a fact. This isn't an opinion. This is a fact. And if you don't think this is true, I don't know what to tell you. He would ask Donald Trump vastly different questions than he would ask Kamala. And it would not be as friendly and ha-ha, buddy-buddy of a conversation between him and Kamala as it was between him and Trump. And furthermore, Trump's supporters had their mind made up 4 years ago, and everyone that watches and listens to Joe Rogan's podcast, Kamala Harris could come on the show with the answers to everyone's problems and pledge cash money to everyone, and they would still, there's nothing that she could say in that interview that would sway a single voter to flip Democrat. There's not a single thing. Do you really think there's anything she could have said on that podcast that would have flipped
If she would have
any
been
of his
if she would have
viewers?
been honest, if she would have been honest and had a good interview and didn't try and set parameters and restrictions on Joe Rogan, I would have given it a 50-50 shot because she's the first person to lose all those Democratic states in a presidential election. She lost fucking Pennsylvania, for Christ's sake.
Dre said, don't forget George Washington Hogan is backing Trump, brother.
Oh, remember I sent you that picture the other day from the supermarket here across from the No-Tell Motel. They had the Steve Austin IPA and the Hulk Hogan
so
Real
sad
American beer.
about that, but it all makes sense though that he's a Trump supporter. I really wanted when I got and I still have it. I have my Winged Eagle belt. I don't have the new release that has the WWE version of the logo on it. I have the actual WWF logo on it, and I want it because you can mail it to Hogan's Beach Shop and pay a few $100s, and they'll sign it and send it back to you. And I emailed that idiot Ron that runs the shop and asked him for a quote on it. And I thought about doing it, and I can't bring myself to sending those guys any money. They're both a couple of bumbling buffoons. And if you watch that interview with Hogan, that the head of that shop is, he's nuts. He's a nutcase. But anyway. All right, that's enough politics. I vented.
It'll be okay, Noah. If the end of the world happens in the next 4 years, at least we'll be together.
Look, you're a Trump supporter. I don't hate you. I'm
not
not mad
I'm
at
an
you.
independent.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm an independent. Well, then you feel exactly how I feel after I pissed away my vote for Joe Biden in 2020.
Did you be honest? Don't lie. Did you even vote last week or on Tuesday?
No. I was so disgusted. I was so disgusted with both of them. They're both trash.
So disclaimer, Mike has his opinion, but he didn't actually fire his shot. He didn't take his shot.
My vote wouldn't have mattered because this has been a red state since the beginning of time. Even when I voted for Biden in 2020, it was red all the way, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
I didn't want to spend the $10 to take a lift there and a $10 to take a lift back just to
what
cast a vote.
they don't offer vote by mail in the state of Ohio? What the
And
fuck
where
is
do I go? Where do I go to get a ballot? The post office, because that's an $11 lift each way.
well,
I already knew who was going to win. And I was so disenchanted with the 2020 election, I did not want to do it again this time.
so let's get off that topic. But speaking of disreputable, disgusting people that are accused of forcibly having their way with women. Sorry, you can't say the R word. You can't say the R word on YouTube. This surprised me. I am shocked that Mark Shapiro, he's the president of Endeavor and the chief operating officer of TKO. He went out to breakfast with Vince McMahon and actually went on CNBC in an interview and admitted to it and almost in a way spoke glowingly of Vince. Didn't bring up he brought up the legal stuff, but he kind of glossed over and said Vince has some legal issues he needs to work through right now, and so he's glad that he stepped away from it. And I'm paraphrasing what Mark said. He said that Vince approves of WWE's current direction. He emphasized that Vince is not part of the company. And this was actually news. Vince apparently still owns a piece of WWE, so that refutes the previous news reports that Vince sold every last share of TKO stock he had. That was evidently not true. So what else on here? He had breakfast, wasn't about seeking advice, and the latest disclosure shows that Vince owns just under 5% of the company, which amounts to about 8 million shares of TKO
Okay,
stock.
so I'm gonna bring up another point real quick. Vince is not in the greatest health. If you see him, he just had spinal
Oh, he looks like
surgery a few.
shit. He
Oh yeah,
walks
he
he
looks
walks
like
around
Guy
hunchback now with
Incognito.
a cane.
He looks like Guy Incognito. Okay, with that mustache. But
Do you think he has
you
to
know,
have? Do you think he has to pay anyone? Do you think he has to pay anyone to wipe his ass? I
I
wonder. I
think he
wonder if
was
he.
doing that before
I
he
wonder if he
couldn't
wears. I
walk.
wonder if he wears the Depends. Everyone hit that
God
like button. Thank
damn
you,
it.
Matt Helms. Keep
Do you think he
spam
gets as
calling Ebar.
angry? You think he gets as angry when he shits himself as if when someone sneezed?
Well, he
God
did.
damn it.
Well, he
I'm gonna
did get
shit.
pretty angry when he shat himself when he was trying to make Pat Patterson throw up in the production truck years ago. And then Kevin Dunn, as cameraman, had to shoot Vince from the waist up so they wouldn't catch the big brown stain on the back of his slacks.
But my point is, everybody I've known who's worked at a certain job like all their life, like Vince, once that's like gone and you're in your 70s and 80s, like retirement is just basically a time period to settle before you die.
Adam said Vince is going to be like Major Zero in the wheelchair at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, I just saw some sad news. The Candyman died.
The Candyman. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I read that. So, how old was the Candyman? And for those at
69.
home that don't know who the Candyman is, can you please elaborate?
69. He
T-
was 69.
tell everyone who the Candyman is.
It was a really cool horror movie back in I want to say the mid to late 80s or early 90s. I think his name was Tony Todd. He was a really cool black dude who was a great actor, by the way. And The Candyman was one of the freakiest movies I ever saw as a kid, and I did get nightmares from it. Just like what was the other one Hellraiser was the other one I got nightmares from. But yeah, Candyman was a really, really messed up movie. I'm trying to watch my swears.
Paul Paul Calvi in the live chat said Vince looks bad, but fuck him. He's done so much shit. Nobody should care if he dies tomorrow. And
Innocent till proven guilty.
well, there hasn't been, for the record, there hasn't been any criminal charges filed yet. Just the civil lawsuit is ongoing. So.
Well, even the civil lawsuit, they haven't done a burden of proof or anything yet, even though you need a slightly lesser, volume of proof to get awarded anything. There still has not been any judgment so far until, all the actual court recordings and stuff come out. It's just hearsay. We don't know everything.
Do you
Although,
honestly believe that every accusation is a lie, though?
No, but that's what our justice system's for, is to bring it to the light, and then we know for sure. Do I think a lot of this shit is true? Yeah, I do, but I still don't want to make a judgment until there's a judgment against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I'm just gonna abstain. Like, I don't hate the man yet.
So, do you think that we should let this go to court, or do you think that Trump should follow through with pardoning him? I think there's enough.
You can't get pardoned in a civil case.
No, I know that. I meant the potential criminal charges from the feds.
But I mean, even if he's found guilty and pardoned, he's still found guilty.
That's true.
So I mean, that does nothing to change my opinion. If he's found guilty, then he did that shit.
Yeah, and I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. That's a very important, fundamental foundation of our justice system. The court of public opinion oftentimes forgets that. But you gotta let this go to court.
I have a really big problem with the way our cancel culture is happening, where it's like, let it play out first, make sure everything is as it seems, because there have been a lot of false narratives put out there just to silence people, and we don't know all the facts yet. Although we have seen a lot of proof and everything, we don't know everything that's gone on yet. Yep. We don't know everything, you know what I mean? But if it's true, then it's disgusting and he's despicable, and it would explain a lot from the business side too. But until we know for sure, we should just keep our mouths shut until there's a judgment.
I firmly believe there's too much smoke for there to be absolutely no fire. We just don't know how big the blaze is going to be. I didn't say there's
no fire.
No, I know. And you said that, and you agreed with me that there's no way he's innocent of everything. There's something there. There has to be something there. I hate to break it to anyone that loves Vince. There has to be something there.
Brian trying to pay off his ex-girlfriend from Barstool Sports for an NDA.
Yeah.
I don't like him very much.
And we're talking about a guy that, with a straight face, suggested an angle where he was the father of his own daughter's baby. There's something gross going on in that head of his. There's something not right.
Yeah,
it ain't right. And it's
really weird.
And just the dynamic between the family. He's an odd duck. At the very least, we can all agree on the fact he is he's a few fries short of a Happy Meal, that's for sure.
Well, just remember, if you watch that McMahon series on Netflix, he was molested by his stepfather, so maybe he had some of those feelings.
I thought it was his mom that did that.
I think it was both, or he got beat up by his stepdad and molested by his mom. So I don't know. Maybe, it's a really weird dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a genius wrestling mind, but in the last 10 years, I'd say ever since the beginning of the PG era, he was starting to lose it. That's for sure.
Listen, I have a different perspective on everything since I've been staying at these no-tell motel pay by the hour bullshit places. I've seen things.
All right. Well, let's segue into some wrestling talk because we are wrestling fans. We watch wrestling. We enjoy it. So I'm
That's
not
the
gonna.
only saving grace, Noah. Like these motels at least have TBS, TNT, and the USA
You can
Network,
watch
so
all
I
your
can
shows.
watch.
Yeah, there you go.
In fact, I just watched Collision tonight. This is the first time I've seen it in a while,
Oh yeah.
and I like the presentation. I
No,
like AEW's
the
presentation.
presentation is good. So it's been a few days, so I've committed to everyone one show a week at minimum, and I've delivered on that. I waited until Saturday this week to go live just because my work week has been hectic. So I'm not going to go over Crown Jewel to the nth degree because it happened last Saturday. You've all seen it already, so I don't need to
The
remind
one
everyone.
other thing, if I can get in there real quick,
Yep.
I do like the fact that Raw is only 2 hours now.
Good Lord. Thank you, Triple H, and thank you.
It streamlines real fast, and I'm able
Yeah.
to watch it.
It's so much better with a 2 hour show. You can actually sit through it. It's
And it's
painful.
actually entertaining again.
It is painful to sit through a 3 hour long weekly wrestling show. Back in the day, back in my day, kids, let me tell you about back in my day. Back in my day, Raw was 2 hours
3 hour
long.
nitro.
Huh?
3 hour nitros.
Back in my day, Raw was 2 hours long, and you looked forward to the pay-per-view event. That was 3 hours long. Even WrestleMania was about 3 hours long, and
Well,
people were happy
here's
with
what
it.
I would do. I loved Raw being 2 hours, and when Nitro started the 3 hour deal, I would just record it because they had a replay after Raw was over, and I would just record it and go to sleep and watch it the next morning and fast forward because I could not sit through 3 hours of Nitro.
What's up, Brian Duff? Welcome. Let's see what else is going on in the live chat. Dre Santi, who should be Goldberg's retirement match? So yeah, Goldberg did announce he wants to.
Drew McIntyre.
So Goldberg is that sucks. You kind of are trying to steal John Cena's thunder now. Kind of a dick move, Billy Bob Goldberg.
I want Drew McIntyre to retire Goldberg. I hate Goldberg.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Goldberg either.
He's a dick.
Really? Why do you think Goldberg's a dick? Tell us.
Because I had an interview scheduled with him back when we were doing the original Extreme Mayhem in 2002. I
Oh, he
talked to his
flaked on you?
brother. No, he didn't flake on me. I'll tell you what happened. I talked to the publisher of the book. I talked to his brother who co-wrote the book.
Oh, this was when
I
his
got
biography came out.
yeah,
What year?
and
What
I
year are
got
we
billed
talking?
in 2002, I
Okay.
think, or 2000. Yeah, it was 2000. I was in my dorm room or my fraternity house bedroom,
This was
the
when you were going
University
to
of
the University
Tulsa.
of Tulsa, right?
Right, which was the city he was from, by the way, just to put that in perspective. So I've actually met his parents. Um, I talked to his brother who was local. I got everything set up, got his phone number and was cleared by the publishing agent because this was already after we were doing interviews and stuff and did Dusty Rhodes and Harley Race and all these people.
I have to stop you for a second. I have to throw the T here. Live chat. Interstate Kyle in the live chat. Whoa.
He's a Republican. He loves Trump.
There is life in this channel. What a throwback to my younger years. What is that supposed to mean? There's life to this channel. Hey, you listen up, Cottage Kyle. Don't think I haven't forgotten that. I invited you to the Facebook page. I've been live for 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
He's a
Over
proud
3
Trump
weeks.
supporter.
And this is the first time you're showing up?
He is
How
a
dare
proud Trump
you?
supporter.
Are you a Trump
He loves
supporter? I will kick you from that chat right now.
But that means you can't go to In-N-Out anymore, Noah, because he works for In-N-Out too.
Does he work for In-N-Out? Do you work for In-N-Out Burger, Kyle? That changes things for me. Are you gonna get me? Are you gonna get me a free 4x4? What In-N-Out do you work at? Are you still down in Stockton? I want to know. Tell me in the live chat.
Okay, so back to the
Kyle.
story.
Okay.
So I call up Bill Goldberg with the time and everything. So he's supposed to know about this. This is after
And yes,
WCW
Paul, he did
closed.
stalk me.
This was after WCW closed, so Bill was sitting on his ass getting that fat paycheck every month from Time Warner
Yeah.
Communications. And I call him, he answers, and the first thing I hear is, "Who the F is this?" And I explained to him who I am.
Did he
That
say
I've
who the
talked to his
fuck? Did he
brother.
actually say the F word?
He did. He said, "Who the fuck is this? How'd you get my fucking phone number?" And I said, "Well, my name is Mike Nagel. I do a show on the internet. I booked it through your publishing company, through your brother. I live here in Tulsa. I actually go to the University of Tulsa right now. And I have an interview scheduled with you today. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm not doing a fucking interview with you." Click. And from that moment on, like, I was like, fuck this dude. Because, like, I actually really like Goldberg, but after I had that interaction with, I was like, fuck him. I was so happy when Vince buried him that one year and Triple H fucking clowned him. I don't even care that he's a Jew like me. He is a bad representative and he's a piece of shit person. Now, he may have lightened up since he had his kid and whatever, and he, apparently had a much better run his second time around and all these other times he's come back. But to me, he's a disrespectful asshole, and I want nothing to do with him. That was the absolute single worst interview or conversation I had with anybody. And it wasn't Jeff's fault.
I once got hung up on by Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but he was nice before he hung up.
Well, Dusty Rhodes called me up and cussed me out because of Jeff.
Oh no, we're not going to talk about him. Don't. We're not going to say anything about that.
No, but I'm just telling you what my second worst encounter was, and it was because somebody decided to call somebody 50 times on Memorial Day from my house phone. So I got the call the next morning and got cussed out by Dusty Rhodes.
I thought Dusty made fun of him for having to leave an interview to go.
That was the first. That was the first interview. That was the first interview. We had a follow-up interview scheduled for Memorial Day, and he no-showed. But instead of taking the hint after 3 times not picking up like a normal person would, someone called him 50 fucking times from my landline, and I got the call the next morning at 7 a.m.
Well, why did you let him call 50 times from your landline? Weren't you watching and seeing him using your phone 50 times and saying, "Who are you calling 50 times?" That's what I would say. Who are you calling 50 times from my phone?
I was doing other stuff because we had like 12 interviews that day. I was doing transcriptions and stuff.
Got it. Well, there you go. You threw your vote away, Kyle. Your vote didn't count. Good job. You threw your vote away. You weren't gonna be the deciding vote that flipped California red. I hate to break it to you. Okay, Crown Jewel. That's another thing. I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked. I'm like, and this goes back to Vince now. If Vince McMahon was a reputable person who cared about his performer and it wasn't just about the almighty dollar, they would have completely canceled the deal with Saudi Arabia after this. But if you guys recall, the first time they were over there, I think it was the first time they were over there for Crown Jewel, it was the second time because Vince was angry that Mohammed bin Salman hadn't paid up WWE on what the government owed WWE from the first time. And Vince was angry about it. So at some point during the show, I guess part of the agreement was that the Saudi Arabia shows would air free on Saudi Arabia television so people could watch it that aren't subscribed to WWE Network, which is what it is overseas. They don't use Peacock. And so Vince cuts the free feed to the people of Saudi Arabia because they owe him money, leaves the show early, hops on his private jet, and flies out of the country before the show's even over. And then the show ends, and all the wrestlers get on their chartered flight to come back, and the government detains all the wrestlers on the tarmac, and
Except for
essentially
Brock Lesnar.
because he was on the plane with Vince, and essentially implies that the entire WWE roster and crew that's on this chartered flight are going to be political prisoners in Saudi Arabia. And meanwhile, Vince is already over the Atlantic Ocean. I am shocked and appalled that they would continue to ask the wrestlers to go back there after being. I mean, I hate to look. If you're getting detained by a Middle Eastern dictatorship government, your life is in danger. I hate to break it to you, but that's a fact. Your life is in danger. And they still have gone back like 6 or 7 times.
Except for Mansoor.
And explain this to me. And I know you don't really like this guy, but I've started to sour on Sami Zayn also because he...
Oh God! Don't even get me started on this guy. Holy shit!
In the early days of the Saudi deal, he refused to go over there because of his political beliefs, and now he's
flip-flopped. They wouldn't let him in the country.
Oh, I thought he didn't want to go. It wasn't.
No, they wouldn't let him in. But then he started talking about the whole Israel-Palestine thing. It really made me dislike him too, because he doesn't know what the fuck.
You've disliked him since he was El Generico.
No, I did. I liked El Generico. I got to meet El Generico.
Oh, that was when he was in PWG? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him in Ring of Honor. I liked him when he debuted. I just don't like, he wants to talk about what country was it that he was, Syria. He was doing all that charity work for Syria. That's good for him. But then when he starts sticking his nose in the Israel stuff, I mean, shit, dude, we still have hostages stuck in Gaza. So he needs to just worry about Syria.
All right. But
it's been 400 days since Hamas did that thing at the music festival, and there's still hostages that they haven't released yet.
That's crazy.
And you got someone like Sami Zayn coming out talking about how it's fucking bad what Israel's doing and all this shit. Fuck you, dude. Release the hostages, and then shit'll happen.
By the way, I do love that as time has gone on, the Saudi Arabia shows have slowly gotten like lower and lower in budget and quality. Like no longer are they busting out the checkbook trying to bring Shawn Michaels out of retirement or The Undertaker or The Rock, and The Rock would refuse. They've offered The Rock a ton of money and he refused to go over there because
but I think the saving grace was they got their Monday Night Raw this week,
which was weird. It was weird because the Monday Night Raw, it felt like Crown Jewel. So these are glorified, and they're not house shows in the sense that they continue the story. They do continue the storyline through these shows in Saudi Arabia, but it just feels so much like a house show, and there's something so generic about it and lame. And I'm not going to go through the whole show line by line, but I'll tell you what enraged me about Crown Jewel. What enraged me about Crown Jewel was the main event. So you have two great you have a WWE champion and a world heavyweight champion. One of them is Cody Rhodes, and he's for the kids. He's like the John Cena of the generation. He's a good wrestler, but he's kind of got the balance of the wrestling skills along with this great character that everyone loves. He's the John Cena. He moves merchandise. He kisses the babies. He signs all the autographs, and it's fun to watch him. And he completed the story. And then on the other side, and this just pisses me off, Gunther. Gunther, he's a great heel. As a babyface, it won't work. He's a great heel. And he's a great wrestler, and I love the story. If you haven't seen the pictures of Gunther when he was on the Indies, he was fat and had green hair, and that ain't an exaggeration either. He looked like a clown, and he was big and fat. and he lost all the weight and he worked his ass off. And if you looked at a picture of him from 10 years ago and you said, this guy's going to be world heavyweight champion, you'd laugh. You'd laugh your ass off.
But even when he got to WWE, he had a little bit of extra weight too in NXT, and he took that off too. He looks phenomenal. He looks like a star now.
He worked his ass off, and he deserves his flowers. And he's got a bright future ahead of him. Why the hell would they put Gunther and Cody Rhodes together in a main event on even a premium live event? Why would you do that, especially a throwaway live event, which I hate to break, Crown Jewel is a throwaway live event. Why would you do that?
It's because they have that WWE experience there now, and it's like year round, and they wanted to put those titles in there, and that's what was promised: champion versus champion.
Okay, you shouldn't have promised a champion versus champion, because going into the match, they're not going to bury Cody Rhodes by having him lose to Gunther. And you've effectively buried Gunther, who, by all accounts, according to the storyline and what you see on TV, he is a far better wrestler than Cody Rhodes.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
I think so. I think it's close.
No, because Gunther lost to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, while Cody's pretty much been undefeated all year.
They're pushing him. They're pushing Gunther as a monster now, though, that nobody can beat.
And they're pushing Cody to have a match with The Rock next year at WrestleMania, and they don't want him losing to anybody before that.
You shouldn't have put him and Gunther together in a match on a throwaway show with no significant buildup. They buried the World Heavyweight Championship in Saudi Arabia. That's my opinion.
Also, you don't know. Like Gunther could get it back at Survivor Series, which more people will probably be watching than Crown Jewel too.
Yeah,
because they may do the 4-on-4 team element, since we already know War Games is going to be the Bloodline.
And by the way, how pathetic is it that they have that WWE experience? They managed to get a WWE experience in Saudi Arabia before a physical Hall of Fame in the United States. And I know it's obvious the Saudi government is bankrolling it. They're paying for it, because there is no way that is in any way, shape, or form profitable for WWE. There's no way. It would be a money-losing venture, so they got to be bankrolling.
Well, why do you think the only titles that are there in the WWE experience are the ones that got won in Saudi Arabia? The titles that they're not going to wear on TV.
Of course. But I still predict that it closes down within 18 months, and I'm going to laugh my ass off. And I'm going to play this clip back on a video 18 months from now and say, see, look up. I was right all along. It's a joke. It's the Saudi government flexing their wallet, trying to make it seem like they're becoming progressive and hip and embracing the West and Western culture. It's all a bunch of horse shit.
They're letting them have multiple women on the show now.
It's all a bunch of horse shit. It is. All right, Raw Monday night. What did you think? Did you catch Crown Jewel, by the way?
I caught pieces of it. I was running back and forth on Saturday. Or Sunday. Saturday. It was Saturday, right?
Yes, it was Saturday.
Yeah, I was running back and forth Saturday. By the way, that's another thing I need to thank Noah for, is the Peacock app, where I can watch premium live events now also.
I forgot. I was wondering why I was getting charged $5.99 a month. I looked at my bank statement. I was like, WTF, I get this for free from Comcast. What's the deal? And then I realized, oh, that's right. And the only reason why I paid for a separate one for you is because I'm already sharing my Peacock with somebody else, and I don't want any conflicts.
Now you sound like Trump.
Shut up. All right, Monday Night Raw Opened up with a women's battle royal. Io Sky won it
She looked great.
to become number one contender to Liv
Dude,
Morgan's
she
women's
is
championship.
she is phenomenal.
She's a star.
I love Io Sky.
I agree.
I've been going back watching a bunch of the Japan stuff. You got Julia and you got people like Hikaru Shida and all these great women. They blackballed Asuka from there, but I still liked watching Asuka stuff when she was Kana over there. I watched a mixed tag with Kenny Omega and her against Masato Tanaka and somebody else, and it's just a great match. I think that was at DDT Pro Wrestling, but I love Japanese wrestling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Next one, I giggle like a little girl every time I see the War Raiders now. What a stupid Vince McMahon Viking Raiders gimmick, and now they're the War Raiders.
Again.
They're jobbers.
No, they're not. They're former tag team champions.
They defeated the New Day. And that cracks me up. It cracks me up how predictable this New Day angle with Xavier Woods and Kofi is playing out, because it's obvious, and even some news sites picked it up, that when they do the 10th anniversary of the New Day, that there's going to be a swerve and they're going to break up on the 10th anniversary. It's so predictable, it makes me want to barf. It really does. But I gotta say, if I was Xavier and Kofi and even still Big E, I'm like bittersweet about it, because their paychecks they're gonna probably lose like 75% of their pay, because all the money they make is on merch sales. I'm sure it's waned a little bit the last couple of years since Big E broke his neck and he hasn't been back, and the New Day has been kind of stale. I'm sure it's dropped off a lot, but damn.
Remember, Xavier gets a check for up, up, down, down also.
We're talking they must have been making John Cena level money at their height as far as merch sales go. Insane.
Absolutely.
Insane. Like, even when Shane was little, I was buying him New Day stuff. It's crazy. But I'm mostly amused at how predictable this angle is going to end. And I can't wait for it to end and be predictable, just so I can laugh and say I was right.
Now, see, here's the thing.
I really don't like Sami Zayn being involved in this whole angle with the bloodline. I think it's really awkward and weird.
I haven't been able to take him seriously since he lost to Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania, so I don't know. Whatever they're trying to do with him, I just do not take serious at all.
It's very odd how they're using him. Whether or not you agree with him politically, he's a great wrestler. He's a fabulous
He
worker.
is, but at the same time, ever since that WrestleMania match with Johnny Knoxville, I can't take him seriously as like
you can blame Vince McMahon for that.
Yeah,
that's Vince's fault, not his. They buried him. They killed his character. You're proof.
But then, I mean, he came back against Gunther, and he should have had a better Intercontinental title reign too. And then, like, Braun Breaker just took it from him.
Yeah, I do think it's really awkward and weird that he's trying to a Syrian man. Is he Syrian? I think he's Syrian.
Yes.
Is trying to insert himself
a Syrian Canadian
into a Pacific Islander family. Very odd. Dragon Lee defeated Chad Gable.
That match was crazy. Did you see that back bump that he took off the apron?
Yes.
That was sick.
Yeah. Damian Priest defeated Seth Rollins, Sheamus, and Dominic Mysterio in a fatal four-way match to become number one contender for Gunther.
And the MVP of that match was Bronson Reed. Holy shit. That dude is amazing. I can't wait to see to see them let him go full throttle.
Well, for me, the MVP of that match was Dominic Mysterio. Dominic is freaking amazing. Anything he's touched so far has turned to gold in WWE. Everything. So entertaining. And it wasn't the last WWE show I went to, but the one before that. Their new thing they do at live events for 2-hour-long shows is they'll have a main event dark match after the show's over with like a main event level talent. Well, 2 shows ago I went to in SAC, the dark match was John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio, and you can only imagine how entertaining that match was. That was something else. And he's so good. He is so good, and I hope they never turn him babyface, even though I know it's going to happen eventually. He just plays the character well, and Damian Priest is another guy. Just talk about a great story at 40. He's like 41 years old now, and took him till he was 41 to become an overnight success.
Yep.
And that's something I talked about last week on the show, Mike, was I've noticed a shift. Back 15, 20 years ago, to be a star, to break into the business and be a breakout star, you had to be like in your late 20s, early 30s tops. And then Batista kind of broke that mold a little bit. He was kind of an exception. Yep. But nowadays, you ain't even graduating out of NXT onto the main roster until you're in your 40s, it seems like. And look at guys like the Motor City Machine Guns that are in their early 40s coming in, winning the tag
LA Knight.
LA Knight, another great example. These are guys that have been in the business for 15 years. AJ Styles, he came to WWE about 10 years too late, in my opinion. But it's an interesting evolution of the business. All right, NXT at the 2300 Arena. Did you catch that?
I was flipping between that and Dynamite.
I was super disappointed that Paul Heyman didn't make an appearance. I know they were keeping him off TV on purpose, but
I thought the show was okay. I didn't think they made the best use of what they had available for that show.
It was a miniature version of One Night Stand, which by the way, not very good. It was One Night Stand light with the same guys that were 20 years older and couldn't work.
I think if it was still on USA, they would have been able to get away with a lot more. But since it was on CW, they had to tone down a lot of what they could do.
Oh, of course. And that brought up another thing that I've always questioned, which is why the hell the first 2 One Night Stand pay-per-view events, which were still really billed as like old school ECW type events, why the hell did they have those at the Manhattan? And it was probably because they could seat more people. They should have had that at the 2300 Arena.
That was ECW's crown jewel for pay-per-views, was the Manhattan Center.
No, I know that, but if you're having a ECW reunion show,
you could only fit a few hundred people in the ECW arena. They were able to fit that. They were only able to fit that many people in there for this show because they've remodeled it twice since ECW.
A little technical difficulty there.
Yeah, my phone is shit.
They should have at least had like 06 at the 2300 Arena. I'm not saying they shouldn't have had one at the Manhattan Center, but they should have had one of them at the 2300 Arena. And that was a little disappointing. So we saw, who do we see there? We saw.
I like Dynamite better than the
let's
NXT.
Run through NXT. Who did we see? Old school ECW. We saw Dawn Marie. We saw Francine. She made an appearance. They both look good for women in their 50s. Good for them.
Francine has always been hot, and she will always be hot.
Rhino made an appearance.
RVD was there.
RVD, who's obese now. He was the munchies from all the weed. No, I love RVD. I met him. He was the nicest guy. No, RVD's a great guy, but that's an example of a guy that just he lives his life to the. There's nothing that he doesn't.
Dude, he's
there's
in
nothing
his
that he wants to
50s.
do that he doesn't do. Let's just put it that way.
He's in his 50s,
I
and he's
know.
not in LA anymore. He's living in Vegas, and you know what? Props to him.
Is he still in the throuple, or did him and his wife dump the other girl?
I have no clue.
I remember when he was in a throuple for a while, him and his wife with that girlfriend of theirs.
They got kicked off of Twitch because of that.
Oh, were they doing naughty things on Twitch? I did
They
hear
got
the
they got
news. He's trying to
they got
start.
TNA.
What?
They got TNA kicked off of Twitch because of that.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I remember TNA had a 24-hour Twitch channel for a while, and they used to air replays of stuff on there.
Yeah, now I watch it on Pluto TV.
I did see the news. RVD is trying to start a competitor to OnlyFans. And it's going to be called Only Wrestlers.
Good for him.
I can name about at least 5 people that are going to like spend their whole paycheck on that. It's going to be.
I can name 2 right off the bat and
sad.
say they're.
Don't do it. I know what you're going to say. Do not do it.
You're going to use it as write-offs while one of them pays his taxes.
You went there. We got to see little Guido Maritato.
Oh, I don't like that guy very much.
He looked like
I'll show you the videotape why I had an interaction with him.
He looked like a skeleton.
I agree.
On NXT, it was very odd, like how just frail he looked. I mean, I can't.
And Tony Mamaluke.
It was fun to see Tony Mamaluke though. That was fun, but seeing little Guido Nunzio, he could still move. I'll give him that, but it was weird seeing how frail he looked in the ring. Got to see both the Dudley boys. That was fun.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of Bubba Dudley. I went. Much like you, I got to spend some time backstage at a TNA event, and really cool guy. Bubba Dudley, really cool, down to earth guy, and it was so funny. He was so nice to the people that went backstage, but then when he went out for his match, he immediately went old school ECW and was cutting promos on all the women in the audience. And you can imagine some of the things he said.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, there you go. So, SmackDown. Did you catch SmackDown last night?
I did not. I missed it.
So there's and I can't stand it when dirt sheets try to portray kayfabe as actual news.
I did catch the end, just for fair play.
I can't stand it when dirt sheets try to play off kayfabe as actual news. I saw news reports on these dirt sheet sites talking about how Randy Orton is injured and that this could be the end of his career and crap. Kevin Owens gave him a pile driver, and it's a work. It's all freaking work. I can't stand that. But they did the bit on the show where they once again told Sami Zayn that he's not family. That was very odd. What else happened? Got to see Motor City Machine Guns over A-Town Down Under in a non-title match. That's a tag team I wish would take a flying leap.
I know DIY won because Tommaso went all heel.
Yep. But yeah, SmackDown was just it was just SmackDown. It was a vanilla SmackDown. I do like the 2-hour shows. WWE did announce so that they're going back to 3 for Raw. Excuse me, when it hits Netflix. And that SmackDown.
But I think it'll be better though.
SmackDown on USA is extending to 3 hours, which, look, better or not, it's too much. It's too much, and I don't buy that it's going to be better. It's going to be, once again, it's going to be a lot of filler material that nobody gives a crap about. Okay, let's see what's going on in the live chat. Yeah, I'm not naming any names, Paul. Sorry to say. Let's circle back to the New Day. Did you see the Twitter beef between Xavier Woods and Kenny Omega?
It wasn't beef. They're friends. It was hilarious.
They were doing a work.
Yes.
They were doing an internet work.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Kenny Omega. Not gonna lie.
Well, you can go to hell.
Every time he does a little finger pointing, it's pretty dumb. No. All right. Well, we've been. What time is it? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning on the east right now.
1:07 a.m. in the morning.
Well, I want to play my shut the fuck up music and get out of here then.
Me too. I have to take a.
Oh, don't say that. Now I'm gonna have to edit that out. I hope you're happy. Show's over. Nothing more to see here. Mike, you coming back next week?
I think I'll be on the road actually.
Oh, that's right. I hope so. All right, guys. When's the next show? The next show is going to be next week sometime.
And I'll be able, when I'll be on, I'll be able to set up my laptop and I'll have all my cool podcasting equipment with me. So.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. I think I'm out of here. See you guys.
Goodbye, everybody.